Welcome to Life Planning 101, brought to you by Kennedy Financial Services of Eastland. Tune in every Monday morning at 8:30 on KATX and again on Saturday morning at 9 on KATX and KWBY as Angela Robinson joins Terry Slavens to share important financial information to help you live life on purpose. Insurance, investments, estate and tax planning, and much more. All covered now on Life Planning 101.
And a very pleasant good morning to everyone. Welcome into Life Planning 101. It's our weekly visit with Angela Kennedy Robinson. Good morning, Angela.
Good morning, and happy to be here this morning. We have a great topic. Maybe not an exciting topic, but it's a great topic.
It's an important topic.
It's an important topic. You know, so much we talk about money in this show. I mean, that really is the gist of what we talk about, and growing it and how to do different things. And that part's exciting. It's always fun watching your assets grow, right?
We're going to talk about not losing it.
That's right. That's exactly right. So we're going to talk about protecting it. And that really is, like you said, that is so important because, you know, so many times we forget that. And, you know, when we're educating clients, when we're sitting down with them, we actually have a little what we call life planning pyramid. And we show them that pyramid. And, you know, if you think about a true pyramid structure, like the pyramids of Giza, if you got a crack in the bottom of that pyramid, where's the crack going to go? It's going to go to the top, right? Okay.
Yeah,
and it could split the pyramid, right?
Right.
Okay. So the same thing with your life. You have to create a solid foundation because all these things that you're building in your life, your retirement assets, your future, your business, you know, even your Vegas money, right? All of that you're building can be ripped apart if you don't take care of the foundation. So, you know, what is that foundation inclusive of, you know, and we've talked about several things on the show, you know, whether it be, you know, the right insurance coverages such as life insurance or long-term care, whether it be having the right legal documents in place and those types of things. And today we're going to talk about lawsuits in particular and getting protected from those because, you know, unfortunately, we live in a world that it's litigious, right?
Right.
I mean, can you imagine just having someone come over to your house for dinner and they trip over a pot and then come to find out this person's sole income is from a lawsuit? Would you be a little bit scared?
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, and people do make their livings.
That's right.
Suing people.
That, unfortunately.
I was telling a story this weekend. My aunt and uncle had a dog that was known as a biter, and they took it to the vet, and it bit the vet's assistant. Sued him for $10,000. Got it. Homeowners paid it.
Oh my goodness!
You know,
wow. Yeah. So see, there you go. So, and you said a key thing. Homeowners paid it, right?
Right.
You know, and that's what we're going to talk about in the show. We're going to talk about how you can be covered under different things. And just to give you an example, that's a great story because, you know, I always the reason we took to partial on this in particular topic is we had a client, and he was a young client that very seldom actually implemented what he knew he should have done, and this was one of those things. And he called us, and one day, and we were actually in Abilene, we were doing a seminar, and we were headed back, and my dad's cell phone started ringing, and he called us, and he said, I need help. I just ran into the back of a car on George Bush Turnpike. It was fully stopped, and the little kid's legs are cut off.
Oh, my.
Yes. He has no protection. He says, what can I do? Well, it's a little too late. And the problem is that, you know, when you wait, you don't know what's coming your way. You have no clue. And here's a successful man that has a successful business. It wasn't even set up appropriately to be protected from the rest of his assets whatsoever. He didn't have the proper insurance coverages. There was nothing in place for him whatsoever. His assets were fully exposed in the amount of about $10 million.
Oh.
Can you imagine?
No, I cannot imagine. And I cannot imagine someone that successful and that not being protected.
We're busy, aren't we? We're always too busy to stop, right? That's a great point.
And it will never happen to me.
It'll never happen to me. Oh, I'll deal with it tomorrow. And tomorrow becomes next year. And next year becomes 5 years, right?
Right.
Well, here's a story of someone we know personally that it happened to. Now, luckily for that gentleman, there was some things in place. There was 5 kids in the back seat, so there wasn't 3, and they weren't buckled up. There were other things in place that were to his benefit. But had that not been the case, just imagine. Everything fully exposed. So, you know, here's a great thing. And I do want to remind everybody throughout the show today, we are bringing back our trivia. We've had calls for it. We want to know what the trivia is. So I'm going to ask you to pay careful attention to some of the factoids in all of this today because, and this is really important. And what we're going to be giving away is we're going to be giving away a free assessment of asset protection.
Fantastic.
Yes. And I tell you what, I mean, that right there is worth everything to me because because, making sure that I know that if I'm a team roper, right? I have people come over in our arena all the time. What if someone got hurt on our place in a horse? Is that important? People say, well, you're young. You probably don't have that much assets and built up. Well, that may be true, but I have earning potential.
Right.
And guess what they can sue you for?
Future earnings.
For future earnings. That's right.
Be paying forever.
That's right. A lot of people don't realize that. So it's extremely important that you address this, even if you don't have anything built for your future yet. In fact, I'd rather you address it before you have something built for your future. And then the second thing to that is if you have something in place or you think you have something in place, you need to review it annually. Let's just go back to 2008 and 2009 versus today. Do most people have more money than they did when the market was 50% off or less?
More,
right?
More.
Much more. That's right. What about real estate? Is real estate worth more than it was then?
Lots more.
Okay, so are those things protected to the level they should have been today? Or are they protected to the level that they were back then?
Exactly. And things go up, and you think, car insurance used to be, minimum insurances were very, very low. It's still very low compared to what you need to have.
That's right.
But, you're now driving $40,000 and $50,000 vehicles, and you need to have the protection in case you hit one of those $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 vehicles.
And that is a very good point. And it's not even that, but think about in our part of the world, the horse trailers that are hooked to these vehicles. Now you got a $200,000 rig. Are you prepared if you hit one of them? Mm-hmm. When we come back, you don't want to miss it. More facts about protecting yourself if you get sued.
We'll be back with more Life Planning 101 in just a few minutes. And we're back with Life Planning 101 with Angela Kennedy Robinson, talking about protecting your assets today and what happens if you get sued, Angela.
That's right, and great topic. And we were talking about, during the break, the fact that your insurance is a great solution for a lot of this problem if you have the appropriate insurance coverage. Now, here's the deal. 99% of policies that actually come in our door, because we do comprehensive planning, so we want to look at everything, right? We're very nosy, but we want to make sure that person's protected. 99% of the policies that come in our door need changes.
Definitely. Need lots of changes.
Need lots of changes. Isn't that crazy? And, a lot of people say, well, why is that? Is my insurance agent not doing a good job? No, it's not that at all. Your insurance agent is probably doing a great job based on the facts that you've given them. And here's the deal. What are you looking for when you go get your insurance?
Lowest price.
Lowest price. But is that really the best thing for your situation?
Absolutely not.
No. Now, there are ways to cut costs on a policy, and there's a lot of times that we'll maneuver a policy. It doesn't cost the client any more. But what we've been able to do is increase the liability coverage and cut costs of things that they don't necessarily need.
Higher deductible, maybe?
Higher deductible is a lot of times. Instead of PIP, personal injury protection, having medical on your insurance, that can actually save you money. So there's a lot of things that you can do. Now, please note, I am not a property and casualty agent. My dad is. So he's the one that actually comes in and looks at these policies. He actually used to teach property and casualty to other agents. So we don't sell it. But we look at it and we talk to our clients' agents for them, and for good reason, apparently, because it is our job to make sure that they're protected. And here is why. Okay, this is the craziest thing, and this actually happened to my dad himself. Okay, so he had a cow get out on the road. Someone hit it, and they came into our office, started looking around, and said,
money.
Money. That's exactly right. Okay, so this happens all the time, and an attorney thinks this way. Okay, if you have an attorney that this is what they do is lawsuits. If you take them your case, they don't care about the facts of the case. The first thing that they're going to say is, we're going to send out a discovery, and by law, if you receive a discovery, you have to fill it out correctly. By law. Okay, they're going to get that discovery back, and if there's money there, guess what they're going to say?
We want it.
We have a case. That's exactly right. If there's
the lawyer will say, I'll take it on contingency.
That's right. And if there's no money there, they're going to say, I don't think you have a case. Okay, so it doesn't matter the facts of the case, which is really scary, isn't it?
Yes, very much.
But this is the world that we live in. So here's my question to you: why do you not have an attorney on retainer all the time, and a big time attorney? Well, you're thinking, okay, that's expense, right? So just imagine that you were in one of these situations that we've went through. We talked about, a dog bite. We talked about, somebody coming over for dinner and ended up, suing you because they trip over something, running into the back of a car and hurting somebody, your cow being out. If that happened, would you be able to go hire the right attorney to fight for you?
Probably not.
Probably not. But do you think insurance companies have the right attorneys to fight for you?
Lots of them.
Lots of them, right? And they are the big dollar attorneys. So why do you not have them on retainer for you? Isn't that the best question in the world?
Yes.
Yeah. So, if you question, in fact, if you've never had your liability limits reviewed in comparison with everything that you have, that means taking everything you have and laying it out, then you probably need to get all of that reviewed. It's that important. There are really, in the state of Texas, there are about 4 things that are protected from lawsuits. Your home, they can't take your home from you. Your retirement assets, okay, so IRAs, 401ks, things like that, they can't take those from you. Annuities, okay, everybody wants to know, how did Ken Lay get away with everything with Enron? His money was all in annuities. Yes, so it was all protected, okay. And then life insurance proceeds. So those are really the only 4 things that are protected by nature. Everything else you have is exposed. Here's another one just to kind of think about, okay? Business owners, this is talking to you in particular. If you have a retirement plan on your books for your employees and you don't have someone that has told you, I am taking the fiduciary responsibility for your plan, then guess what? You are taking the fiduciary responsibility for your plan. Now, what does that big word mean? That means you're entirely liable for any mistakes inside that retirement plan, any losses incurred in the market. So if any of your employees gets a little tiffed and they want to come back and sue you, guess what?
They can.
They can. And guess what's liable for you?
Everything.
Everything. Your personal assets. It doesn't even matter if it's a C corporation. Your personal assets are liable in that situation.
Wow.
Yeah. That is scary, isn't it? Okay.
Yes.
So, we deal with a lot of people that have, a lot of employees, and they may have $10 million, $20 million in a 401k plan. Think about that. That whole thing is personally liable if you're taking that fiduciary responsibility.
And that is very scary.
That is very scary,
Very scary.
but can you protect that? Absolutely. There's ways to protect it. And that's what's really important. So you need to have, that kind of, okay, am I at risk of a lawsuit review? Not necessarily just are my assets protected? What if I get in a lawsuit? Because it's totally different. There are totally different things that apply or can be protected from if you allow them or you don't look at it. A lot of people say, okay, well, doing this type of planning is only for the extremely wealthy. And that can't be further from the truth. You could be potentially sued for, your earning power, like we talked about earlier, not just your assets themselves, or it could actually go out to your children. Did you know that?
Out to your children.
Yes. Isn't that crazy?
It's crazy.
It's really, really important to have these things reviewed. When we come back, we're actually going to go through our trivia. We're going to talk about some facts that you need to know, some things that you need to get done, and you don't want to miss it when we come back.
You certainly don't want to miss it. Stay tuned for more Life Planning 101 coming up right after this. And welcome back in Life Planning 101 right here on KTX KWBY. Angela Kennedy Robinson in studio with us talking all things about protecting your assets. Angela?
That's right. And don't forget, this show re-airs if you've missed any part of it, because this is a really great show, especially because it's talking about protection. Again, it may be a little boring, but boring topic, but it's probably the most critical thing that you can do for your financial assets is making sure that they're protected from lawsuits and otherwise. So the show re-airs on Saturdays. You don't want to miss it then. I believe 9 a.m.
9 a.m.
9 a.m. And then also, you can go to our website, kennedy-financial.com, kennedy-financial.com. We have a corresponding article that goes with this, so it kind of gives some more detail inside of there that I can't touch on the radio show. And also, our show airs on iTunes. We got accepted on iHeartRadio, so thank you for all of our listeners that supported us to get us to that many people that we could get accepted on there. That was huge. And Google Play Music as well. So you can go anywhere and be able to listen to us, which is wonderful, even if you're out of reach, out of town. So
and on our website.
Yes, and on your website, KATXradio.com, KWBYradio.com. Make sure you go on there. And if you want to sign up for our weekly newsletter that comes out, and in our weekly newsletter, we have usually an article that corresponds with the show itself. We have a financial tidbit, an insurance tidbit that's in there, a weekly market commentary for investments. So it's a great newsletter, so you can sign up for that as well. But in the meantime, while you're digging around on that phone, we want want to know something, okay? So we're going to put out another Twitter poll today at KFS Life Planning. KFS Life Planning. The last time you had a liability risk assessment, was it less than a year ago? Was it 1 to 3 years ago? Or was it more than 3 years ago?
And I'll bet the mass majority will say, if they're honest.
Yes, please be honest.
Yeah,
we want to know.
A poll doesn't do it good.
Yeah, we want to know. If it doesn't help anybody, we won't do the show. If everybody's doing what they're supposed to be doing, right? We'll do a different topic. So.
More than 3 years, I would think, would be the
greatest
norm.
answer. Yeah, I would think so too. So, we've been talking about, the fact when we left the show, we were talking about it's not just the wealthy that needs the proper liability coverage. And I think a lot of people hear this and they hear, having an attorney on retainer through your insurance company, oh my gosh, this must be really, really expensive to do all this. It's not. It's not. Most liability coverage that we look at when you get the proper needs in place may cost you a couple $100 extra a year from where you're at.
Only a couple $100.
Think about that. 10 to 20 bucks a month. Is that worth protecting your entire estate?
We lose more money than that walking around town.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. So, it's really important to look at this. And, accidents can happen. It's like you said, it won't happen to me, right? And the other thing is like you mentioned, the client that we had that just didn't do what they were supposed to do. Why didn't they do what they were supposed to do? Well, it won't happen to me. And then that we don't take time to stop, and I specifically want to pick on business owners here because they're notorious, right? We've talked about this before. You're constantly having to deal with what's going on in your business, and there's always something that you have to pay attention to, right? So you forget to stop and work on your business, work on protecting it. Your workers' comp limits, your liability. Make sure your business is set up appropriately to protect you from the personal assets and vice versa. Those are really, really important. If you have multiple businesses, protecting them from one another. I think that's probably the most common thing that we see is that there's a leak over there's a leak. It's literally a leak between the businesses that exposes both of them to liability risks. So if one of them gets sued or something happens in that business, the other business is opened up to that risk. Ouch. Yes. So
you've worked your whole life.
That's right.
To build what you've built.
That's right. Spend some time to do it. And if you haven't done it, here's what I recommend. Right now, stop and calendarize it. Put it on your calendar to address this situation right now within the next 30 days. You need to do it. If you don't do it and something happens, you would regret it for a long, long time, saying, gosh, I wish I would have done better. Man, I can't believe I didn't do that.
And unfortunately, there'll be people that are listening to this show right here today that 6 months, a year from now, something will come up and they'll say, oh,
yep,
I meant to do that. But like we talked about, business owners are busy. I mean, y'all are a business owner. You're busy.
That's right.
I'm a business owner. And you put things off because you think other things take higher priority. This is a high priority.
This is extremely high priority. I mean, I want you to imagine this. It's kind of like if you left the house without your shoes in the morning. How far are you going to make it that day?
Not very far at all.
Not very far. And if you do, is it going to slow you down?
Yes.
Yes, okay. And could it tear up your feet?
Yes.
Absolutely. And then are you going to be in bed for like a week after that?
Yes.
Right? Okay, so this is like putting on your dang shoes.
Right.
You got to put on your shoes to make the rest of your life work. It's that basic. It's that simple. If you don't do it, it could severely damage your future. Severely damage what you spent so many years building, as you said, Terry. That's the most important thing about it. So, make sure you do that. Let's get to our trivia, because we said our trivia is back. We're giving a free liability insurance review today. Pretty awesome. So email us lifeplanning@kennedy-financial.com. It's lifeplanning@kennedy-financial.com. First answer gets that free liability insurance review. What are 2 common assets protected from lawsuits?
And that was mentioned earlier in the show.
Yes, it was. We gave you 4.
Yes, so you only got to have 2 of them.
You only got to have 2 of them.
Yeah.
Do we know? TikTok, right?
Yeah.
So
if you can't remember, the show will be up on the archives later on today, and you might have to just go back and listen through it again. But I'll bet somebody remembers.
I bet somebody remembers. Usually we get an answer pretty quick, so we're looking forward to that answer, and we want to be able to give that free liability insurance review away. Our whole saying is that we help people live life on purpose. Okay,
Yes.
so what does that mean? It's not by default. It's not by things happening to you and then trying to fix them in arrears. It's helping you plan for the unexpected, the what ifs, the things that you don't know, the things that you don't know to think about, so that you can sleep at night. And if something bad does happen, guess what? It's going to be frustrating that you're having to go through a lawsuit, but isn't it going to be great to know that you have nothing to worry about, your business has nothing to worry about, that everything's protected?
And you'll be able to sleep at night.
Yes, absolutely. So, that's our purpose, and that's why we want to be able to do it. We want to help as many people as we can.
Well, Angela, we have about a minute left on this show, and very good information. And I was just looking at the calendar. Do you know that we are wrapping up our 52nd episode?
Oh, my
of Life Planning
goodness.
101 today?
It is Life Planning 101, 52nd episode. It's been a year. Wow.
Been a year.
It's been a year. Wow. Well, what a great year it's been. I tell you what, I've thoroughly enjoyed getting the feedback that we've gotten. We had a gentleman. We're going to have a show coming in the near future. He approached us at our K-Tab in the park, K-Tab on the road, when they came, and he approached us and asked us if we could do a show specifically for teenagers, how to get them involved in their finances. And I thought, yes, I love that. So Matt Irvin in our office, another advisor, is actually working on that now, and we've just been so excited to be able to give back to the community a little bit, create a little awareness for ourselves. Most of our clients are out of town, not in Eastland, just by ways of who our clients are. And so, it's wonderful to be able to get the word out in our community, because everybody's always asking, what do y'all do? What do you do exactly? So
what do you do?
We do a lot, but we appreciate every one of our listeners every week. And, we just ask that God bless each of you. And, we've got a great country. We ask that you be supportive through what's going on now. Really seek within yourself to help our country in any way that you can, because it needs every one of us. And God bless America, and God bless the ability to be able to do this, to speak every week with the freedom of speech that we have here. So
fantastic stuff. We're going to wrap it up.
Thank you for joining us for Life Planning 101, brought to you by Kennedy Financial Services of Eastland. Tune in every Monday morning at 8:30 on KATX, and again on Saturday morning at 9 o'clock on KATX and KWBY for more Life Planning 101.
Securities and investment advisory services offered through VSR Financial Services Incorporated, a registered investment advisor and member of FINRA SIPC. Kennedy Financial Services is not owned or controlled by VSR Financial Services Incorporated.